My name is James Newbury and we are in Miami, Florida for Palooza 2023, and we're sitting on the beach down here at South Beach, and we're here to soak up the sun before we get stuck into a wicked weekend of competition. So this is the 11th Palooza. I've been here 3 times now. Last year was the most epic experience that I've had in competition. It was just so fiery and exhilarating, and it took me back to 2015 when I first came. Now it is just a staple on the calendar every year, and I knew that I had to come this year just because it was going to be just an extravagant event again. So for me, it's just about coming, vibing with the crowd, vibing with all the other athletes. And the good thing about Palooza, it's the furthest competition from the most serious competition of the season, which is the CrossFit Games. So everybody's coming here for a good time. The spectators are in close quarters with the athletes, and we're just all having a good time and vibing hard.
Tell us about your team, who you're competing with, what your goal going into it is, how you train and get ready for this event.
My team this weekend is La Boys. I'm actually teaming up with 2 fellas that I've never competed with before. One guy is Nick Matthews, who came onto the scene and absolutely blew people's minds because he actually didn't qualify for the games. He came into it from a disqualification. Then he got a call one night when he was cleaning his gym, and they just said, "Hey mate, you've qualified for the CrossFit Games, come on down." And then he got to the games and just dominated some events. So he messaged me and said, "Hey, do you want to jump in a team?" And I was like, "I'm going to be there, why not?" And then we've also got another guy named Will Kearney, who I've done some training with back in 2018 in Gladstone when I was training with Tia and Shane. And he's just a young kid, he's super strong, and he's just a good guy to have in the team. So we're going to vibe pretty hard this weekend. I think it's just going to be about having as much fun as possible. And I know that the type of people that we are, if we have fun, we're going to do well.
Awesome. Tell us what is next on the calendar post-Palooza.
Post-Palooza for me, I've got something on, I think, every fortnight for the next 6 to 8 weeks. So after this, I have a team of 4 competition, so it'll be 2 guys and 2 girls. And then after that, I'm heading over to Perth. I'm running some workshops, some other bits and pieces like that. And then about 2 weeks later, I have an Ironman in New Zealand. So it'll be actually a 70.3 race in Taupo. So I'm going to be getting ready for that. And then in and around there as well, I think we're going to be gearing up for an adventure race, which is a 4-stage adventure race, which will be a mix of kayaking, swimming, biking, and off-course trail running.
How do you stay in shape for all of this, right? You're going from CrossFit to Ironman to adventure races. How do you ensure that you're pretty much in tip-top shape to be able to take any of these on in such a short duration?
The best way that I'd like to explain trying to stay in shape for so many different disciplines in sport is probably how you would explain triathlon. The best way to get ready for a triathlon in the initial phases is just to get exposed to those elements as much as possible. So get exposed to the bike, get exposed to the water, get exposed to running longer distances. And once you have built up that exposure, you'll be able to call upon all that experience when the time comes. And for me, I've done so many different events over the last 20 years of training that no matter what pops up, I'm always going to be able to rely on some skills that I've learned before and the last 10 years of fitness that I'll be able to say, okay, hey, endurance body, I need you right now, or hey, powerlifting body, I need you for some squat, bench, and deadlift. And then it could be adventure race, let's go, let's just switch between all different types of gears, let's run, let's bike, let's kayak. And also the other good thing about it is being adaptive. So over the course of the last decade of training CrossFit specifically, we just learnt to adapt our bodies to whatever it's called upon. So if we go to a rock climbing gym and they say, hey, climb this wall, we'll figure it out eventually. You know, that's kind of the way that we try and roll. So for me, it's just about exposing myself to as many different disciplines as I can per week. And then when push comes to shove and I'm in race situation, I just hook in and give it a crack.
Yeah, you said adaptive. How do you adapt for nutrition on the road, right? You know, you're plant-based, you know, putting that aside, just how do you as an athlete kind of ensure that you're fueled for the days leading up to the competition, especially if you're getting in a few days early, fueled for that competition, and just talk about being thrown off of your usual routine and finding that food that works for you while on the go.
Absolutely. So yes, I'm 100% plant-based, and finding food in particular countries is hard, but what I've found over the last 3 years of being 100% plant-based is that the options these days is so good. I can walk into any Publix or Whole Foods and I can find the type of food that I would like to eat on a daily basis to get me fueled. And I thrive on dates, berries, nuts, seeds, bananas, apples, smoothie bowls, acai bowls, All those types of things are the things that I look to go to when I'm getting ready for competition. As long as I'm staying hydrated, I've got good quality water, making sure that I've got good quality fruits and vegetables, I know that I'm going to be pretty well set. And then if, you know, I can find a place that's got lots of black beans and tempeh and tofu, then hey, that's a huge bonus for me as well. But I always make sure that I carry a little bit of something here and there, so some nice healthy bars as well, just in case I'm on the road and I know I'm not going to get fueled up soon. So taking some supplements with me is also super crucial.
Talk about energy and recovery. You're working out pretty aggressively going into a competition, right? But you are maybe taking this a little more lightly. It is a lot of Palooza. Everybody has a bit more fun, and especially in the team atmosphere. But talk about recovering, maintaining that energy going into a competition day, and just recovery in general on the road. Again, you may not have access to what you have access to in the home. So on a cold plunge, just recovery tools in general. Talk about that.
Absolutely. Recovery is the biggest key thing that you can focus on when you're getting ready for competition that'll set you apart from the rest. You all might be just as fit as each other, but if you can hone in on your recovery, you're going to be so much better. And when I look at recovery, just like training, I look at the things that I can control and the things that I can't. The things that I control are the things like sleep. I can make sure I'm sleeping well. I can always make sure that my room is dark. I can make sure my room is silent. I can make sure my room is temperatured in the right way. I can make sure my room is clean. So all the prerequisites for having good sleep and going to make me recover better, I can control. So that's one thing. So sleep is super important. So I make sure I'm getting good quality sleep. Another thing is staying hydrated. So making sure I'm taking electrolytes with me, making sure I've always got access to water, and then obviously fuel. Fuel is also key, making sure that I'm always fueled up with the right type of carbohydrates that I want, making sure I'm getting enough protein, making sure I'm getting enough fat. And then the other thing for me, I feel best when I get sunshine every day. And that is absolutely, you know, that's not hard to do here in Miami as well. It's super smooth and super simple for me just to walk outside on a day like today and just get, you know, 15, 20 minutes of sunshine. So they're the things that make me feel good, make me feel energized, and also get me in the right arousal state for competition. Leading in, when we're tapering for competition, I like to train all the way up until the day before. So I'll take a day off 2 days before, but then I like to go and, you know, bust out maybe a 15, 20 minute workout the day before so I feel open and alive and my blood is flowing. And they're the kind of key things that I try and focus on. Number one, ditch all the stuff that you can't control and like do the best you can with all the controllables.
Awesome. Talk about just air travel in general. You, I feel like, are probably our most well-traveled athlete on our roster. Talk about your plane routine, your airport routine. How do you manage that, especially for long legs, right? How are you staying hydrated, fueled, etc., so that by the time you get to your destination, you're not completely depleted starting your trip?
Traveling from Australia to anywhere on the planet is rough. It's like 16,000 Ks, so 10,000 miles from pretty much anywhere. And I think that's how far I travel, 10,000 miles to get here to Miami from Australia. I live on the Gold Coast. So traveling, the number one thing apart from hydration that I like to focus on when I'm traveling and getting on a long plane flight is I like to fast. So that was like game changer for me. When I was eating on my flight over, I would get off the plane feeling sluggish, feeling slow, feeling sick. I'd have a headache, I'd have a crook stomach. The instant that I implemented fasting on a plane, so 2 hours before my flight, and then I'd leave it a couple of hours after my flight to get some food, made me feel like a newborn baby. So that is one thing. So fasting on a plane, making sure I've always am prepared with water and prepared with good quality electrolytes. So I want to make sure that I'm always staying hydrated. So if you fail to prepare, you're planning to fail, which is what we always say. So making sure you take good quality water with you. I don't like to drink tap water, so I never rely on either plain water or tap water. I always try and take spring water with me. So water, fasting, that's how you get around it. If you want to fly from anywhere to Australia, make sure you do that and you'll set yourself apart from everybody else.
Last one, talk about sleep routine. That's whether you're at home, traveling, what are kind of the essentials that you need to get that recovery that you need for sleep to prepare for the next day?
Sleep, I think, is probably the biggest performance enhancer you could possibly hone in on. For me, I like getting up at 4:30 every morning regardless of the day. So Sunday through Monday, all the way around, Sunday through Saturday, I'm getting up 4:30 every morning. I'm usually in bed. I try and make my morning routine and my evening routine the same every day regardless of where I am. When I'm here in Miami and I've traveled around and we've got lots of things on, it usually does go out the window a little bit, but when I'm at home and I'm in routine, wake up at 4:30, I make sure I get hydrated first thing in the morning, and then when I go to bed at night time, I'm usually crawling into bed at about 8:15, 8:30, and I usually like to set myself up for a nighttime routine, which is not eating an hour before bed, making sure that I'm sufficiently hydrated, and making sure that my room is situated and set up the way that it should be for optimal sleep. So hone your morning routine, hone your evening routine, and if you can keep structures and boundaries set around those, you'll be like turbocharging your performance like crazy. That's probably one of the biggest things that people miss out on. They like to train hard in the gym, they'll focus on their nutrition, but then if they're lacking sleep, that is such a huge performance enhancer that they're not harnessing the best that they possibly could. So if I recommend anything for anyone, if in 2023 you want to try and get better at something, get better at sleep, and you'll be better at training, you'll be better at competition, you'll probably be better at your work, and you'll probably have a better relationship too, because everyone will be like nice and relaxed and they won't be so emotional all the time.
I lied. Last one, talk about stress management.
Sure.
You are a very positive guy, you're infectious to be around. How do you maintain that? How do you deal with the stresses, big or small, that come to you on a daily basis?
Stress is one of the key things that I think is chronic across the board with everyone. Whether you're an elite athlete, you're working a high pressure job, or you're in a relationship, all these things that they put stress in your bucket, and your best tool is whatever decreases that stress bucket for you. For me, it's the same thing when I train, it's the same thing when I compete. I always go back to breath. If you can control your breath, no matter what you're doing, if you're in a stressful situation, you're out in the water and you're surfing, and you're in a sticky spot, the best thing you can do is focus on your breath. When I'm out on the floor, on the competition floor, and things aren't going my way, and the bar feels heavier than it should, the burpees feel harder than they should, just go back to breath. Go back to breath always. So for me, it's learning how to nose breathe properly, making sure I'm able to control my breath and have it fluid, like a fluid deep breath. And for me, when I do get stressed, or if someone cuts me off in traffic and I'm getting heightened and I'm feeling all these anxiety, emotional feelings, the best thing I can do is go back to some nice relaxed box breathing through the nose, out through the mouth, and that kind of draws down my stress like something shocking. That's probably the best way for me to go from a heightened flight or fight state of mind back to a nice parasympathetic, relaxed rest and digest state of mind. So for me, it's always back to breath. And it's also surrounding myself with good people. Guys, thank you so much for tuning to Bodybuilding.com. Stay tuned for more behind the athlete scenes later this week.